Alex from Royal Chevrolet Cadillac, and today we're talking bargain Corvettes. Let's get started. So this is actually a Corvette that my dad has purchased. This is a 2007 model here, powered by this LS2 engine, which was new for the 2005 model year. We are looking at a 2007, and today this is a C6 Corvette for people who are unaware of what this car generation is. They made the C6 generation from 2005 to 2013. Now, the C6 Corvette has two different power plants. As I already said, this is the LS2. Now, the LS2s are a little bit cheaper than the LS3s that came in 2008 and up, and they're a little bit more of a bargain. These make 400 horsepower. The later models make 430, which makes them a little bit more sought after, but it also makes the 2007 a little bit better of a bargain. This is a 6-liter. The later ones were a little higher displacement of 6.2 liters, but this is plenty of power to get around. And if you're just looking for a vehicle to get you from point A to point B with a little bit of fun, this is plenty of power to do that, and it's still a very nice vehicle to drive. But I know everyone wants to know what powers these particular ones. So why a C6 Corvette? There are a lot of Corvettes you can choose from. Now the C6, like I said, from 2005 to 2013, but a lot of people like the previous generation as well. The C5 Corvette, which was produced from 97 all the way to 2004. And that's a lot of people like them because that's the last year that they made the pop-up headlights. And this is the first generation of the Corvette which actually had not pop-up headlights, and it's a really unique look. Now these are a little bit more expensive than your average C5. Now this one here, I won't disclose exactly what you can get this one for here that we got, but you can get C6 Corvettes, at least in Canadian dollars, starting from more bargain ones from the lower to mid 20s, depending on condition and mileage. This one here has about 75,000 kilometers, and they're usually a little bit more when they have a little bit less kilometers like this. So you're going to get them in the mid 30s, usually low to mid 30s, depending on that. A little bit lower ones can range even up to 40, depending on which one you're looking at. But like I said, if you're looking for these particular ones, the 2005 to 7 are a little bit cheaper than the 08 and up. So if you're looking to get a little bit more bargain, this is the one you might want to go for over those particular ones, as they don't hold quite the premium for the LS3 motor, as I just explained. Now, this one here, like I said, 6-liter powers this, has plenty of power to get you A to B. This one is the 3LT model. Now, if you're looking at Corvettes, 3LT is the highest trim level you can get for a Corvette of this year. They had obviously the 1 and the 2. Now, the 3LT gives you a little bit more some niceties, which I'll explain as we get into the interior and go a little more into detail of that in a minute. Now, this one here is in this beautiful yellow paint here. I know some people are going to love it or hate it, but it does give you a really nice example to see when you're looking at this one here, and it shows this car's lines very well. It's very time appropriate, and I love this color because it was the same color they used for the racing cars of the same era, and it really pops with the sun on it. And this one here also has some unique touches because even in 2007, they did have some pretty cool things with this. You do have actually LED lights on this, which is a really nice feature because these headlights here are really nice and bright at night if you're planning on driving at night, which most people obviously won't with these things, but you do have that, which is really nice, making it a little bit easier to drive. This one is the convertible here as well. So now, depending on which one you go for, they were both convertibles, but some people do prefer the convertibles because it just makes it a little more convenient. Because if you go for a coupe model, you do have a convertible roof, but it is a targa top, and you do have to manually release that here. I will show you how the convertible top goes down here in a second here, and that's a really easy process to do, and it's really nice to have that because it makes this really a lot of fun to drive. There are some unique touches to both the convertible models and coupe models, as I'll discuss here in a minute. Now let's move on to the back. Before we move inside, I actually wanted to quickly mention that this has these beautiful chrome wheels on it. Now, I know that some people might actually prefer like a black wheel and everything like that. This is very era appropriate when looking at this. And the great thing about actually getting a C6 is you can actually fit other Corvette wheels on them because they, during this era and the era even after, they had very similar bolt patterns. So you can actually fit a variety of different wheels in this. So if you want to modernize it a little bit, you can. So even if these aren't the wheels for you, you do have some options on there. And you also have the Corvette script on the brakes here. You do have performance brakes regardless of which model you go with. Now, if you did get one of the performance models like the Z06 or Z06 for the American audience, or ZR1 models, you do get obviously a little bit more of a better performance brake on those ones. And you do have to be careful with wheel sizes when going with that, because they might have a larger brake than these traditional C6 Corvettes will. Of course, Z06 and ZR1 models, especially ZR1s, are going to hold a premium on price. They will be not the same as getting a traditional C6 like these. They will be a little bit more expensive on those. But I just want to go over quickly. So moving around back here, you get some pretty cool touches with the Corvette here. Now this is a very iconic era of this. It's when they had these circular taillights come back. Previous generations had circular taillights like this, but they were not the same distinct look that this one has. These were really cool for this year, and a lot of people like it. They distinguish these lights here with the Corvette, and it's just a really cool look overall. And this one here, this car is pretty much all stock, other than this particular one does have a Borla exhaust on it, which I'll give you guys a listen to here in a second here. But this is a really, nice vehicle. Now, something I like about the Corvettes is they're always going to look really nice because they made them out of fiberglass here. And you can see it here. There's no rust on it because you're not going to see that when you're looking at a Corvette. You're just going to have a very nice look of them overall. You do have to be aware when looking at them, though, for fiberglass cracking. So I would be aware of that when you're looking at that. Sometimes they will have that. And you also, when you're looking at Corvettes, you also want to make sure you know about accident history, as some of them have been in them because they are performance vehicles, and some people get a little bit carried away with owning these. Now, you can see here you have the Corvette logo back here, this beautiful little tail here integrated very well. And like I said, you have the exhaust here, and I love this, how it's quad tip on this one. You also have the custom exhaust on this one, but they did have the quad tip back then. And I love how it's center mounted there. It just looks really nice. You even have the Corvette logo, not Corvette logo, Corvette script here, built into the bumper. That was kind of an era thing for this time. I still actually like how it looks. I like the font they picked for that. And then these also have unique keys. This is one of the first vehicles here that actually had push button start for the Chevrolet lineup. And this one actually has a key fob here. It's an early key fob, you can tell by the design. But it has some nice things on here. You have your unlock, lock, and you also have a panic button. But the one thing you have is a trunk button here, which opens up very easily here, pops up there, and you actually do get a decent sized trunk with a couple different cubbies in here as well for additional storage. You can actually fit a set of golf clubs in here, which a lot of people, Corvette owners, do. And so you can take that very easily to the golf course you're looking to, or for a nice weekend trip. This has plenty of trunk space, making it a little bit more practical. Now, if you went for a coupe model, you actually have even more trunk space than the convertible. So if you do go convertible, you will lose a little bit of trunk space, but you add the convenience factor of having the top a little bit easier to come down than having it with the coupe models there. But you do have plenty of space here regardless of which one you go for. And again, it's a very easy process to open it up, and it closes down very nicely. Now let's take a look at the inside. So I know I mentioned the convertible top. Before we get too involved here, I know everyone wants to see how the convertible top works. So we're just going to go over that quickly here. The convertible top has a latch at the top here, which you can easily unlatch from when the convertible top is up. You also have a button here on the side, which you then use on the side of the dashboard here to use, and then the convertible top will go down and up on its own for the rest after you do that latch. Now let's take a look at how it happens. So welcome to the inside of the C6 Corvette here. Now, if you're looking at Corvettes, you already kind of know this, but this is probably the sort of not the best part of the Corvettes. During this era, GM did not have the best interiors. You do have this sort of plasticky interior, or I call it the GM Plastic Fantastic. in this interior, which is again a little bit of the downfall of owning the Corvette. But if you can get past the interior, you will have a fantastic experience with owning one of these vehicles here. Now, I said this vehicle is pretty much untouched. There are a couple additions, and sometimes you can get these additions which are actually favorable. This one has a touchscreen that was added in by the previous client that owned this vehicle, or previous owner, I mean, that owned this vehicle. So you do have a nicer touchscreen in this particular one, and he did add the Bluetooth functionality, which makes it nice if you want to pair your phone. But you can get later models that also have the Bluetooth already in them. It's just the earlier ones like this, you will have trouble if you're looking for stuff like that. You might have to add something like that in yourself. There are a lot of options. Now, moving into the interior here, you do have some nice things. 3LT, like I mentioned, this is a top package, so you're going to get a full leather interior, and you do get these beautiful bucket seats here. They're really nice. You do get some very nice support. I would like a little bit more, but if you do get a performance model like a Z06, you do get a little bit more with one of those. But again, this is just a fun driver car. You don't necessarily take into this one to the track. If you're just looking for someone to cruise, this is good. Now, I know that some people are going to say, well, you go through all the trouble getting a Corvette, why'd you get an automatic? This is, again, a cruiser for my dad. He's just enjoying it. And if you want the manual, yes, you do get a little bit more engagement with them. They are available. And onto the steering wheel here, you do have some nice touches here, like you have this beautiful leather wrap steering wheel here. As I mentioned, you got the paddle shifters, volume controls, everything on here. Really nice and very convenient there. It was an early era of some of the stuff, so you started to add some of these things in. Now, one of the things that I either love or don't love is this one has these door poppers here. You can pop the door open very easily like this, but as this vehicle ages, the electronics are a little bit tired, so you will find that they're a little bit finicky here and there, but they do work. They are nice when they do work, but they can be a little finicky when they don't. But if they're there, you get used to it after using it for a while. You do have memory seats on this, power windows, power locks. You do have a lot of nice convenience like that. And this one does have a Bose sound system, so it does have some good sound when you're looking for that. And you do get some cool features here on the gauge cluster here. You do have a bunch of different buttons over here for changing the small infotainment screen that's in the gauge cluster. You can go right here through that, and you can adjust it accordingly here when you're looking for. You can see your what your tire pressures are even. You can see your mileage, your average fuel, everything. And on the left side, this vehicle does have a heads-up display, and you can actually change the heads-up display. That was an option. It's one of the higher trim packages you have to get for that, and you can adjust that right here. Now, one of the things, like I said, this does have the push-button start, so you do actually have this little cool little design here, an early era of one. It is a little different than most people are used to when you look at push buttons. Everyone's commonplace today, but back in 2007, this would have been a really cool and different thing, and you can see that right there. Now, I already mentioned the infotainment. You do have that in this one. I do actually have the original radio of this particular one, but you also have these cool little dials here for the aircon and even heated seats on this particular model, which is nice. Now, on the dashboard here, you even have that cool script from the bumper here on the dashboard there, which is nice. And then you do have a center armrest here, which opens up. Not a lot of storage, but does give you some. And this is the first Corvette which I can remember actually having 2 cup holders. These aren't great cup holders. It's better than like a C5 or an earlier generation. They didn't give you cup holders that worked. This one actually has 2. They're semi-functional. They even have a nice little cover on them. And then you have a traction control button here, which actually adds in your sport mode. And you can change that from competition mode, everything like that, very easily right here for different types of driving. And that's a quick tour of the C6 convertible. So again, I'm Alex from Chevrolet Cadillac, and this was the C6 Corvette. Let me know what you think about the C6. Would you get a C6? Would you go for a C5? They would be a little bit cheaper getting a C5, but it depends if you like that styling or not. You can even get a C4. Those are even a little bit less expensive than both these two, but it depends on what you like. Maybe you just want the power, a little bit more modern feel. Maybe the C6 is your kind of style. Let me know what you think about the C6 or in this particular one. Leave a like, comment, subscribe so you can see more videos. Thanks for watching.